The topic of writing a script has been mentioned throughout this afternoon. Could you give me some more specifics? Are you referring to imagery in your mind?
Yes, or storytelling. What we're talking about is giving, here is a good way to see it. If you were a screenplay writer, writing a movie or a screenplay, the first thing you would do is identify your characters. And then you would weave your characters together in a scenario that pleases you. Now, imagine this screenplay writer who has written this scenario, but who now wants to tell the audience who the characters are, so that the audience will understand why the characters behave as they do. So you would begin by identifying the characters. Now, Esther would say the character known as Esther is, rather than I or me. The character known as Esther is a deliberate creator, and she's very good at what she does. She is full of fun and full of life. It's like a party going on wherever she is. She likes to have fun. It seems to be her dominant intention, although she can be very serious. She is someone who is in love with life, and it is evident every day and everywhere that she goes. Everywhere she goes, people brighten up. Everything she does, she makes fun around it. Everything that comes to her is satisfying and fulfilling. This is a character of deliberate creation. The character known as Esther has a partner who is known as Jerry. He too is a deliberate creator. Now you can be, and you can go into as much detail as describing your characters as you feel inspired to do. Don't make work of it, just speak whatever comes. Now you could begin to weave them together in a script. In other words, the character of Esther and Jerry are in the process of living happily ever after. They are happy wherever they are. They travel immensely and find that doors open for them everywhere. If there is a flight, an airline flight, it is always perfect in every way. Their baggage always arrives. Usually it's the first 3 bags off the conveyor belt, and it is always in perfect condition. They go to their rental car agency and pick up their car with the greatest of ease, and always find themselves moving about the city with great ease. As they move from hotel to hotel, they find each experience new and exciting, and they anticipate always the deliciousness of the people that will gather with them. You see what we're getting at? You tell it like you want it to be, and the entire universe complies. That's what script writing is.
Thank you.
Now, in this case, the reality and the script were almost identical. That was not always the case. In other words, Esther wrote lots of scripts about lots of airplane rides, and lots of scripts about lots of encounters with those like you, and lots of scripts about lots of drives through traffic. In other words, in the beginning, Esther wrote a lot of scripts because her reality proved to be less than what she wanted. Now she hardly ever writes a script like that. She can just acknowledge what is. The well-being is now self-perpetuating in many ways. You see what we're getting at? But if the well-being is not self-perpetuating, that's where the creative license comes in. That's where you write the script. So what we would say script writing is because there is so much in your joyful now to appreciate, of course, give your full attention to that part of your reality. But then fill in the gaps with statements that empower the universe to deliver to you. Now that part of it is what gets your car moving fast. Then the other part of it is soften your fire hose whenever you feel negative emotion, and you will begin quantum leaping all over the place. We told Jerry and Esther 2 years ago that within 2 years they would have 10 times the activity in every aspect of their experience than they were having at that time. And Esther said, that will be interesting to see. And indeed it has been interesting to see. In other words, we could tell by the momentum of the scripts that they had been writing, we knew what the future held for them. You see what we're getting at? And so you can't write a script without the future being full of it. But what trips most of you up is that you write a script, but then you say, where is it? Which produces resistance that doesn't allow the fruition of the script. You say, this is what I'd like, but it's not here, which causes resistance, which doesn't allow the fruition of the script. Or you say, life is really good for me relative to this, but did you see that jerk on the highway? And as you give your negative attention to something, you feel yourself with resistance that does not allow the fulfillment of the script. You see what we're getting at? So, as you decide that there is nothing more important than keeping the valve open, then you begin to learn all kinds of ways of doing that. And one of them is script writing, and the other is lowering resistance. Now, the script writing part you've all been doing. In other words, that's what goal setting is. That's what affirmations are. That's what we are calling scripting is now. In other words, you've been doing lots of that. In fact, you all have been doing so much of that that you have enough out there to keep you busy for 20 or 30 lifetimes. You're not really short on that part of it. What you are really wanting to work on is lowering the resistance and allowing the fruition of these things that you've been setting into motion. How do you lower resistance? There are lots of ways. Appreciating lowers resistance. Basking lowers resistance. Applauding lowers resistance. Complimenting lowers resistance. Meditating lowers resistance. Sleeping lowers resistance. Laughing lowers resistance. Going to a good movie lowers resistance. Having a great meal lowers resistance. Basking in the deliciousness of life lowers resistance. So many things that you do that lower resistance, we see you beating up on yourself. You say, I shouldn't have eaten that. We say, you were lowering resistance. Relax, and your body will maintain its balance. You say, I shouldn't have wasted the time and gone to the movie. I should have kept my nose to the grindstone. We say, you were following your intuition. You were lowering resistance. Why ruin it all by beating up on yourself now? Getting the sense of what we're talking about? Lighten up. Be easy about all of this. Follow your heart. Let your dominant intent be to let the joy that is natural to you flow, and find all of the wonderful creative ways that you can find even in one day to let it flow. During one of the segments of refreshment, Jerry and Esther went back to their room, and they were basking in the deliciousness of the beautiful day. And Jerry had said, do you see how pretty it is out there? The sun was shining very bright on the patio and the sidewalk. And as they sat there, a beautiful little bird came right down and walked right up to the window and looked right in at them. In other words, he was in vibrational harmony with their appreciation of this beautiful day. The closest proximity, in other words, the thing in all of the universe that was most in sync with their vibration in that moment came immediately and directly to them. And Esther said, turn around and look. And Jerry turned around and saw the beautiful little bird. In other words, 3 little birds, all basking in the pure positive appreciation of the moment. See what we're getting at? Very good.